Okay, so most people would say that making the bow is the hardest part of floral arrangements or design, floral design. And the satin ribbon is probably the hardest to work with. It's not the wired ribbon like you find in your craft store on the end cap shelf, but it is very pretty and it looks very formal, and it's pretty affordable as far as a whole roll of ribbon. This whole bolt of ribbon is 100 yards of ribbon, and your craft store might have it for $12 to $15 for retail price, but it'll last you a really long time. So if you do that, be sure and buy a color that you know you probably use a whole lot. Usually red is a good one to go with, or white. But I happen to have a mint green on hand with me today. So what you're going to do is first you're going to leave a tail. This is going to be the bottom tail of the ribbon, and it doesn't have to be too incredibly long unless you just want to make it long. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pinch this up into my thumb and my first finger and hold it there pretty tightly. So then I'm going to take the rest of the ribbon and put it underneath that ribbon that I just put in between my thumb and my first finger. So right now I have all the ribbon in between my thumb and my first finger, and I'm pinching it together. And this is going to be your center loop, and I'm just going to fold this over my thumb and put my thumb back in the middle of that. So you see the little fold there. It's still just the two strands, or the two strips of ribbon bunched up in between my thumb and my first finger. Now, all of the ribbon that I put in a loop is going to go in between my thumb and my first finger. So I'm going to take the rest of the ribbon, and you see this is a rough side and this is a shiny side. Most ribbons, the satin ribbons, are going to be that way, and if you don't turn them, you will notice the texture difference in your bow. So when I have it at this point, I'm just going to flip it. We used to call this, I was taught to call it sunny side up. You see the difference there in the shine. Sunny side up. So you're just going to put it sunny side up there. And then you're going to fold it back. And this will make your first loop on your side. And then I'm just going to scrunch it up in between my thumb and my first finger. And you might start getting a little cramp in your fingers at this point, but if you can just hold on. So I'm just going to pull out some more ribbon here, and I've got sunny side up because I've already twisted it. Twist, make sure you got that smooth side going up. This will be a very, very pretty, elegant, shiny ribbon when you're done. So I'm just going to hold this right here. I'm just going to hold this in between this finger and that until I move my first finger and put it under there. So it's still in between my thumb and my first finger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist it just like that. Now, if you find that a little hard to do, you can put this in between your first finger and your middle finger and twist it there, and move your finger and switch them. And I'll do this all through the bow so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. So then you have your rest of the ribbon, and it's already sunny side up because you twisted it. So I'm going to make my second loop here. Usually on the way back to me, toward myself, I just push it in between my thumb and my first finger and then twist it. And then on the way back away from me, I use my middle finger to hold it until I twist it like that, and then switch my fingers. So pinch it, twist it. Sound like one of those games. And then go back, and I'm going to hold it with my middle finger and then twist it, and then move it and put it right in between my thumb and my first finger. You see, I'm getting quite a stack here in between my thumb and my first finger. And all of my loops are sunny side up. And as you get more and more practice, you'll just get the hang of it, and it'll become very, very easy for you. And the loops will be about equal size on both sides, because you'll start getting a feel of you'll start to get a feel of the ribbon and how it moves and works. So I'm just going to put this underneath on the bottom, in between my thumb and my first finger there. Twist. I'm using my middle finger there. Let me turn it this way so you can see this way. Well, I've still got my middle finger holding it. And I'm going to twist right there and then switch my fingers. So now it's twisted sunny side up, and I can continue on. And push in there, twist, and go back. And now I have 5 loops on either side, and I think that's plenty for my project. So I'm just going to go down here and snip off some. Now if you want an extra set of tails on your bow, then you can just pull up some more ribbon, put it up underneath there, and hold it, and cut it off to about the length that you would like. Now here is where your wire comes in. You're going to take some of your floral wire, and if it's really thick, then you'll only need 1. Or if it's really strong wire, then you only need 1. If it's pretty thin or flimsy wire, you might want to use 2. So stick it in between. You're going to take your wire and stick it in the center loop, right above your thumb there. And then, to make sure that we get all of the ribbon in the wire, and that none of it, because if you don't do this part right, your whole ribbon's gonna fall apart. It's gonna come loose. So we wanna make sure we do this absolutely right. We put our ribbon wire, our floral wire, in the center loop, and now it is under my thumb. I don't know if you can see that, but it is under my thumb on top of the ribbons. And we've got this side over here, and I'm going to put it over this. I'm just moving this the very first piece of ribbon that we had to work with, the first tail that was on top. I'm just moving that to the other side of my wire. Okay, this is a very important key step. If you don't, your ribbon could fall apart. So make sure you move that. It was here, and I'm just going to move it to the other side of that wire. And then I'm going to pull that wire around and bring it together underneath. So I've got both of my wires, both sides of my wire right here underneath this bow. And I'm going to stick my finger in between both of those wires. This finger here, my first finger, is going to go in between those wires, and I'm just going to hold that there. That's going to act as leverage for me to twist the wire. So you want to pull the ribbon, pull the bow down, and pull the ribbon up. This will ensure that you have a good grip and pulling everything really tight. And then while your first finger is still in that wire, you're just going to twist, and don't pinch yourself, but you want to twist that wire up as close to that ribbon as possible. That is going to make you have a poofy bow. It's going to stand up really nicely and not look flimsy or floppy or fall apart. So now that you have your wire twisted, you can kind of let go, and on the end there, you don't have to do anything except I usually twist up the end there, because once you stick it in the vase, it tends to split up, like the wires go different directions, and it's a little harder to stick in the stem of vase, the vase of stems. So we're gonna fluff out our ribbon now. We have our bow completed, and I'm just gonna fluff it out here to where all of my loops are visible. And there's the center loop that we started with. That will stay in the middle. And it usually just covers up your the wire and all the little bunching that you did with the ribbon. And for the ribbon to lay right, I usually stick that back through and pull it back. So, and pull all your tails down to the bottom there, all the ribbon tails to the bottom. And congratulations, you have yourself a bow.